So earlier this year, I made a video for Useful Charts, outlining everybody in the Arthur Pendragon family tree, and since then, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. And let me tell you, the fandom for the matter of Britain is an odd place to find oneself, because upon reading Thomas Malory's 1485 classic Le Morte d'Arthur, in what I believe is approximately the original Middle English with some adjustments of spelling, I discovered Arthurian legend is a veritable goldmine of literary drama. But like a gold mine, it's 99% dirt and rocks, which is why, despite my brimming with unbridled enthusiasm, no one gives a shit about King Arthur. So I have decided, even though he's not a real historical figure, I have a platform here and I can and will use it to drag you all by the ear and explain to you why this book, written 100 years before Shakespeare about a bunch of virgins having lunch together at the round table, is actually the coolest shit ever. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Jack, everybody knows the story of King Arthur already. Chances are you know like 5 names and a couple of scenes. Arthur pulls the sword from the stone, right? He goes looking for the grail. I guess maybe he finds it. His son turns evil and then he goes to sleep. Buddy, my guy, my friend, you're telling me you've seen the entire MCU because you heard a purple guy clicks his fingers, but you're missing the best parts. A doomed romance, the ghosts of our youth come back to haunt us, the lies, the incest, the moments when you realize Lancelot is lifted directly from anime. Oh, gentle viewer, we have only scratched the surface. Whoop, wrong intro, here we go. Now before I get started, there are obviously many different tellings of King Arthur, and the one I'm about to jump into is very much a product of the 1400s. But before that, you had Geoffrey of Monmouth's History of the Kings of Britain in the 1200s, you had Historia Brittonum in the 800s, and as you move further back, you move a little further away from the fantastical and a little closer to the historical. I say a little bit because you get actual events like the Anglo-Saxon invasion, but then you still get stuff like Arthur conquering the entire North Sea, England, Denmark, Norway, Ireland, Iceland, Gaul, and then somehow the Western Roman Empire still exists at the same time. But if you actually go back to the time he was supposed to have lived, he's gone because he never really existed. And so naturally, a lot of people have gotten very curious about where this whole story came from, and that's why this episode is sponsored by King Arthur, the Legend on Magellan TV. They set the groundwork for what Arthur's supposed lifetime really looked like, the aftermath of Rome's departure from Britain, the Anglo-Saxon invasion, and then track how this murky Welsh legend became adopted as a symbol of Britain and the power of that great myth that has survived into the modern era. Because ultimately, trying to find some Welsh leader with a similar-ish name who might have been mythologized into a great king is cool and all, but more than that, it's the stories that are important. Right now, viewers can take advantage of a special holiday offer. Buy one, get one free gift card for an annual membership by clicking on the link in the description. So the comparison to the MCU is intentional because this bad boy is the size of a George R.R. Martin novel, and it reads like a summary. I mean, Mallory does not faff about, so there's like 50 different stories in here, not to mention the fact it's built on literal centuries of lore, so forgive me if I depart from this particular version on occasion in order to make a more concise, engaging storyline. So the first thing to know about Arthur, he's a product of, his father Uther was a creep who wanted to impersonate a woman's husband to get in bed with her, and Merlin was an accomplice because he got his magical powers by being the son of a literal demon. But Mallory wants you to know it's actually all okay, because Uther was at war with her husband, and he died in battle just a few hours before the two got in bed, so she was actually single at the time, and then, Uther kinda kidnapped this woman to be his wife, and so, all fine and dandy. Then Merlin shows up in court one day and says,
"Hey, I think we should never ever mention this baby to anyone ever and give him to someone else to raise."
And Uther's like, cool. So then I guess this is the point in history where Britain became an anarcho-syndicalist commune for a little while, because Uther dies and there is just no king. Until Merlin goes,
"Oh, right, where did I leave that kid?"
And of course he has to convince everyone that this little stinker is actually Uther's flesh and blood, and so naturally, the most reliable form of a paternity test is whether or not Jesus will let you pick up the magic sword Daddy stuck in a rock. Or an anvil, it's not really that important. Obviously, a lot of people aren't cool with taking orders from a teenager, so there's a bunch of fighting that goes on, but Arthur is the chosen one. So he kicks ass all around Britain until he actually runs out of ass and has to fall back on chewing bubblegum. Flash forward, Arthur's a big strong man now and also not really a great guy. Maybe he had his moments when he was young, but now he's sleeping around and his wife Guinevere, say it ain't so, she has no idea. But wait, one of those people under his covers was his half-sister. And just to make things worse, Merlin tells him there's gonna be a baby boy born in, say about 9 months, who's going to ruin absolutely everything. So Arthur decides to massacre every child born on that day. Say goodbye to Merlin, by the way, because he takes up stalking a lady of the lake and gets stuck in a rock and dies. Now one day, Arthur's hosting a jousting tournament, and in this jousting tournament, a mysterious white knight appears and he starts kicking ass. He decks a couple of Arthur's knights, and I believe in some versions, Arthur himself gets up on his horse and this guy knocks him off without breaking a sweat. Hell, I've even heard it told where Arthur whips out Excalibur and breaks the damn thing because it wasn't designed to handle this level of hubris. The White Knight then takes off his helmet and oh my god, it's Sir Lancelot. Except nobody in Camelot knows who that is yet, but you better believe we're still hyped because Lancelot is best boy bar none. And Lancelot goes on to be the biggest superstar medieval Britain has ever seen, and at one point he single-handedly saves the entire kingdom because he is that good at fighting. And on one such adventure, Lancelot goes to rescue Queen Guinevere, who up to this point has been pretty much a cardboard cutout of Princess Peach. You could swap them out, never know the difference. But now, after being married to Arthur for however many years, here comes this hot tamale being all chivalrous, and it is clear these two got the hots for each other right away. But this is medieval England. Think of the shame! The shame! And so they return to court, riding separate horses, leaving room for Jesus. But what's this? It's Guinevere's evil twin sister! I mean, in reality, this is a separate story, but roll with me here. It's Guinevere's evil twin half-sister! Don't ask me how that works. And she's pulling the old, no, she's the evil robot imposter replicant alien swamp thing, shoot her routine. So Arthur banishes the real Guinevere because after God knows how many years of marriage, they have literally zero intimate knowledge of each other. Arthur could have asked for just one special memory they shared or a secret one of them told the other, but he didn't. You know why? Because Guinevere would have come up with nothing. And also probably witchcraft, like a love potion or something. Her sister's evil. So what does Lancelot do? He takes Guinevere with him and asks a favor from Galahad, aka the guy who nearly took over the kingdom last year. He and Lancelot are best friends now because every anime hero needs a friend who tried to kill them in the past. And now, with Arthur out of the picture, sleeping with Guinevere's sister, and with Lancelot as brave and caring as he is, and with Galahad audibly shipping the two of them every morning at breakfast, at least in the versions where he isn't shipping himself with one or both of them, they finally get down to the old beast with two backs. Fun fact, after the time skip, when Lancelot and Guinevere are back in Camelot and the Round Table goes hunting for the Holy Grail, this is the reason why Lancelot only gets a glimpse of an old cup while his son Galahad takes a one-way tractor beam to Nirvana. Anyway, remember that incest baby Arthur had? He's all grown up now, his name's Mordred, and he's hanging out with the rest of the knights going, guys, Gwenelot is a thing and everyone knows it. We should tell Dad, I mean Arthur. And the others are like, dude, no, that is a terrible idea. Do you want civil war? Who, me? No, of course not. I just hate to see Arthur get cucked like this. Okay, but you do realize Lancelot is anime protagonist levels of powerful, and Galahad went to heaven, so there's no way to stop him. Come on, it's not like he could beat Goku. We are not Goku! We are men in shiny hats with pointy metal sticks. So Mordred tells Arthur. Arthur sends Mordred with 13 other knights to go catch Lancelot in the act. Lancelot's buddy Sir Bors is like, yo Lancelot, Mordred made this whole thing about telling Arthur. I don't think Arthur's really on that hunting trip. Relax. Milady called for me. I wouldn't be a gentleman if I didn't answer. And then Mordred's entire patrol shows up ready for battle while Lancelot is alone and unarmed. Lancelot kills 13 of them and leaves Mordred running for his life with a big gaping wound, then runs off into the night. Arthur then calls for Guinevere. He realizes that the only way they can work through this is by burning her alive. Lancelot has to run back to Camelot and assault the whole castle to rescue the love of his life, but the people guarding it are his best friends. The only way he gets to Guinevere in the end is by mowing down his closest companions in a carnival of blood. Gwen narrowly escapes getting done Pittsburgh Rare, so Arthur calls in a favor from his new best friend, the Pope? The Pope tells Lancelot he'll be free to go if he FedExes Arthur's trophy wife back to Camelot, and Arthur promises he won't kill her. So Lancelot figures Arthur might have slept around, and had an incest baby, and massacred every newborn child in his kingdom, but he wouldn't be caught lying to the Pope. So he hands over Guinevere. Oh, Lancelot, you tragic himbo. Lancelot then crosses the English Channel and stays in France because, surprise, his family owns all of France. This story pulls no punches. No surprise, Arthur crosses the Channel to hunt him down, and Lancelot ends up having an epic duel with his actual best friend, Sir Gawain. These guys go way back. Lancelot saved his life on numerous occasions, but Gawain's pretty pissed because Lancelot just killed his entire family in that assault on Camelot. Lancelot wins because obviously he's best boy, but even as foes on the field of battle, he saves Gawain's life again. And it's a lucky thing because Gawain goes back to England to recover from his wounds, only to realize, oh Mordred's a Disney villain. He took over the kingdom and everything's bad and terrible now. Well, actually, Mallory says that everyone in England liked Mordred better because he wasn't going to war all the time, unlike Arthur, who fought a war against 11 kings, against 5 more kings, against the king of Orkney, against another 12 kings, another 5 kings whom he all killed, and then there was that time he sacked Rome and made himself Roman emperor. That was a weird one. But it was all fiendish trickery and propaganda, because Mordred is the evil one and Arthur is the good one. And you're never gonna believe it, there's only one man powerful enough to stop Mordred. Did you guess Lancelot? Because it's Lancelot. Gawain writes a letter to France. Dear Lance, the man of many lances, Mr. Dulac, Tom Lancy. Sorry for trying to murder you. Arthur could really use your help. Much love, Gawain. And then he dies, and it's actually really sad because, he's on his deathbed and he's finally forgiven Lancelot, but they'll never get to see each other again to make amends. But we don't have time for sentiment right now because Arthur and Mordred are having an epic showdown. It was the Battle of Camlan, and the once idle Arthur was a warrior once more. But he sees that by his pride, nearly every man of the Round Table, his most cherished companions, and the legacy, the unrivaled era of justice and goodness they brought together, they were all gone now. And then he sees in front of him the son born of his sin. He takes his spear in hand, they clash, and he smites the young man down. And then Mordred pulls the spear out the other side of his chest and gouges Arthur on the side of the head. What? Arthur then, as you know, is taken for a long snooze on the Isle of Avalon until the day he awakes to save Britain from its darkest hour and then hang around as the country's racist grandpa until he kicks the bucket again for good. And only then, after the battle was over, does Lancelot show up and look around through the carnage. He takes on the job of keeping things stable in the kingdom until they can find a new king, but more importantly, he looks for Guinevere. And he finds Arthur was true to his word, at least halfway. But this is a soap opera, you fool. There's no happy endings. As soon as they meet, Guinevere tells him, "Away with you. Our love is malady. By it are the flowers of kings and knights and kingdoms all destroyed. Go now. Find thee a wife. Live with her in joy and bliss." "No, my lady. You are the only one for me. I shall never love again." And he lives the rest of his days in chastity, taking on the habit of a monk that he might atone evermore for his love just when it was finally at hand. And that is why you should care about King Arthur. 6 seasons in a movie, HBO, call me.